And welcome to the Championship preview and prediction show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy this video. I do this every single week and a review on a Monday of the Championship fixtures. So feel free to subscribe if you are new. I hope you enjoy. And if you are new, I hope you enjoy as well. And don't forget to smash the like button. Just a quick update on my copyright strike. Obviously now I can't do the watch along live streams. The counter has been submitted to the people who did the strike. So they have 10 to 14 working days to sort it out and provide proof, which means that I should have it back very soon, which is absolutely fantastic. But for now on, my streams are on MTF Streams on the YouTube channel. It's my streaming channel for now. Not sure what I'm going to do with it after this is all sorted out, but there will be a live stream of Sheffield Wednesday versus Leeds on Friday night, so I'm really looking forward to that one, so feel free to check that out. But anyway, we'll start off with Friday night's fixtures. We'll start off with Bristol City versus Aston Villa first. Two sides who have had a fairly decent starts, but have started to just fall away a little bit in recent weeks. So Bristol City have won 3 of their last 5 games, but have lost their last 2 against Wigan on Friday night and against West Brom on Tuesday. Aston Villa, they've only won 1 of their last 5 games, which was a 2-0 victory over the Rotherham. I think it was on Saturday, they lost 2-1 to Sheffield Wednesday with John McGinn scoring an absolutely fantastic strike. That was not enough for Aston Villa to get a point. They conceded a few minutes later to Sheffield Wednesday's Stephen Fletcher. So this game is live on the Sky Sports Red button and on the Sky Sports app. So it is televised, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the result here. I think it'll be a really interesting fixture. I feel there will be a lot of pressure put on Steve Bruce if they don't get the win. I feel that Bristol City probably need a win after 2 losses in a row, both of those away from home. I am going to go with Bristol City to win this game. They are currently unbeaten at home. All 3 away defeats have come away from home against Middlesbrough and then Wigan and West Brom. 2 sides that all 3 sides, sorry, are in the playoffs. So I'm going to go for a win for Bristol City. I'm going to go not too many goals here. I'm going to go 1-0 to Bristol City, but I do believe they'll get the win. And I think after 10 games, they'll be sitting on 13 points, probably quite near the bottom. I think that will be a one knife into the nail into the coffin of Steve Bruce. I feel like if things don't get better before the next international break, I feel they will sack him and look elsewhere. So then to the televised game, Sheffield Wednesday versus Leeds. Really looking forward to this one. Leeds currently sits top of the league on 18 points, 5 wins, 3 draws and 1 defeat, 7 goals conceded but 19 scored, the second highest in the Championship. Personally, I think this one will be very tight indeed. Leeds, they have suffered their first loss at home to Birmingham, that was, but they are unbeaten so far away from home. Sheffield Wednesday didn't have the best start to the season, but they have done recently. They've done really well. 3 wins in their last 5, just 1 defeat coming against Nottingham Forest away from home. I think this will be a really big test for Leeds, and they'll be looking to get back to winning ways. Personally, I think it will be a really tough game, and I think it will end up in a draw. I'm going to go Sheffield Wednesday 1 and Leeds 1. If you remember, I am doing a live stream for that one. That is one I'm really looking forward to. And then we move over to Saturday. So there is also a full round of fixtures in midweek as well. So Birmingham versus Ipswich is the first one. Birmingham are buoyed by their first win of the season out of 4 draws in a row. They have got their first 3 points against Leeds of all teams, going to Ellen Road and winning 2-1. 2 Che Adams goals were enough there. Ipswich, they had They are unbeaten at home, but are yet to win, and I can't see anything other than a Birmingham win here. I'm going to go 2-0 to Birmingham, getting their second win in a row and starting to climb up the table. Ipswich, it'll be 10 games without a win. How long can Paul Hurst keep his job? Really, really poor start by them, and I was expecting a lot more from Paul Hurst. Blackburn versus Nottingham Forest next. Blackburn have had a very, very decent start to the season, just one loss in the last 5 games. It's the same story for Nottingham Forest. Both teams have the same record and are both on 14 points. 5 draws for both of them, which isn't what they would have wanted going into the season. They would have wanted a few more victories, and they need to start turning those draws into victories. But Nottingham Forest have won their last 2. Which is a sign that they are going to do that. They won against Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham. Blackburn went to Stoke at the weekend and won 3-2, being 3 goals up before almost having Stoke equalise, missing a penalty right at the end there. I'm going to go for Nottingham Forest to get the win. I'm going to go 2-1 to Forest, and that would see them probably go up into the playoff positions. So after a rocky start with lots of draws, they're starting to just go up into the playoffs. I'm expecting a very, very good campaign overall from Aitor Karanka's side, who have also got into the next round of the Carabao Cup after beating Stoke 3-2 at home. So next we have Bolton and Derby. Derby will be fresh off an amazing win at Old Trafford, winning on penalties after a 2-2 draw in a game that they bossed. Absolutely fantastic by them. Bolton, they will be without Mark Wilson, who was sent off against Ipswich, and their form over the last 5 games has been very, very poor indeed. No wins, 3 losses, 2 draws. It's not been good enough. Derby, they've had very, very good form. 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss, putting them up into 6th place. Personally, I can't see past any result bar a Derby win here. I'm going to go 2-0 to Derby, a comfortable win against Bolton, who would then start to just get sucked into the final few of the table, and I think that they are going to struggle from now on. I know a few Bolton fans, and I'm really, really sorry. What I do like about Bolton, though, is they played 9, they've drawn 3, they've won 3, and they've lost 3. They've scored 9, conceded 12, and have 12 points, which is all a factor of 3, which I really, really like. But I can't see anything bar a Derby win. But I feel like it might take them a while to get going after playing 90 minutes and penalties and, Old Trafford against Premier League side. I think it might take them a while to get going in that one. Next we go to Brentford and Reading. Brentford, they got knocked out in midweek against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup and are currently in 7th place with 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats in their last 5. They'll be looking to get back to winning ways after 2 games without a win in the league against Reading. Reading, they've started to pick up 2 wins in the last 3 games. Both of those came against sides that are struggling in Hull and against Preston. Preston, who are now bottom of the table. I think this one will be really, really tough for Reading now, and I think Brentford will get the win. I'm going to go 3-1 to Brentford and continue their amazing start, really, when you consider Brentford. They have so many good players. Ollie Watkins, Mapei, Mepham, I've been really impressed with, and it'll be interesting to see how much they can take this really, really good start. Personally, it reminds me a lot of Bristol City. They fell away after Christmas, Bristol City last season, but it's very, very similar start to them. But obviously, Bristol City had the Carabao Cup when they got to the semi-finals, losing to Manchester City in the end there and unbeating Manchester United, but Brentford are already out of that. So I'm going to go 3-1 to Brentford. Next, we have Hull versus Middlesbrough. So Hull have had a very, very average start to the season. In 21st place, just 2 wins all season against Rotherham and against Ipswich. It's not been Nigel Atkins' start to the season at all. 1 draw and 6 defeats, which is the joint most in the league, alongside Rotherham and Preston. Middlesbrough, total opposite, just 1 defeat coming against Norwich, who are climbing up the league very, very, very slowly there. But besides that, just 3 goals conceded, are very, very impressive from Tony Pulis' side. I can't see past the Middlesbrough win. I'm going to go 2-1 to Middlesbrough, but it could be more. but definitely a Middlesbrough win, which could take them top of the league potentially. With Leeds playing the night before, they'll already know what they need to do to go top of the league for the first time this season. Millwall versus Sheffield United next. Millwall have been struggling of late. They are in 22nd, no wins in the last 5 games, just 1 win all season. It's not been Neil Harris' start to the season that he would have wanted. They had a really, really strong end to the season last year, but once again, they've really been very poor so far. Sheffield United, after 2 defeats in their opening 2 games, they have only lost once in their last 7 games, with 3 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat coming against Bristol City. Personally, I think Sheffield United will go to Millwall and get the win. I'm going to go 2-0 to Sheffield United, which will be a very, very good 3 points. Personally, I think that Millwall, I don't think Neil Harris will have much fear of them sacking him. He is a club legend, and I think they will give him time. He got things right at the end of last season. He got them promoted the year before and has done a fine job at Millwall. They've had some really poor managers over the years. The likes of Ian Holloway really struggled there, but you know, he's done a very, very fine job. Next, we do go to Norwich, who I've just been talking about. Norwich have been very, very impressive indeed of late, and they will be taking on Wigan, who have had a very, very good start to the season after being promoted from League One. Paul Cook's side are already in 5th in the playoffs, 3 wins and 2 defeats in the last 5 games. Norwich, they have been very, very impressive of late. 3 wins in a row against QPR away, Reading away, and then that very, very impressive Middlesbrough win at home. So 3 wins in a row for Norwich, and I think that they will make it 4. I'm going to go 1-0 to Norwich, which could potentially take them into the playoffs if results go their way. I don't think they will be in the playoffs, but a really, really good performance. That Daniel Farke is finally getting his team together. It's taken them a while. They stuck with him after last season, and now they're starting to pay benefits. After a really, really, really poor start to the season, they are starting to look up, and I think a win here would be very, very impressive indeed. Next, we go to bottom of the table, Preston North End, who will be taking on high-scoring West Brom. Preston, they have only won 1 game all season, and that came against QPR, who currently sit in 16th place. 2 draws, and 6 defeats, which is the joint worst. They've only picks up 5 points. They are bottom of the league. They've conceded 18 goals, and they will be taking on the highest scorers in West Brom. West Brom have had 1 defeat in the last 5 games, 3 wins coming against Stoke, Bristol City and Millwall. That defeat coming against Middlesbrough right at the end. A Daniel Ayala goal was enough for Middlesbrough, all 3 points, and that's only 2 defeats so far this season for West Brom. I've been really impressed with them under Darren Moore. A lot of attacking flair there with Rodriguez and Gale scoring the goals. Harvey Barnes has looked an absolute revelation so far, just behind them. I've been so impressed with him, and I can't see past the West Brom win. I'm going to go 3-1 to West Brom. They score goals for fun, and that is something I'm expecting to continue against Preston. I will put the fixtures in the description, so if you want to have a go at predicting them, then feel free to do so. Swansea versus QPR next. Swansea will look to get back to winning ways after no wins in their last 3 games, 2 draws and 1 defeat there. QPR suffered their first defeat in their last 5 games after a terrible, terrible start. They got things together with 3 wins and a draw, up to 10 with 10 points and 16. I think this one will be tight. I don't think there'll be a lot between it, but I think Swansea might get just the odd goal that will, get the win. I'm going to go 1-0 to Swansea. Finally, the last game is a 5:30 kickoff, as you would expect, and that's Rotherham versus Stoke. So 2 sides that have struggled so far, both on 9 points, 2 wins and 3 draws for Stoke, and Rotherham, they've had 3 wins and 6 defeats. Personally, I think Stoke will get the win. They've started to pick up just a little bit. Both defeats in their last 5 games have been by the odd goal. They've won twice, they've drawn once against Sheffield Wednesday away, which was a very, very good point indeed. I'm going to go for a Stoke win. I'm going to go 2-0 to Stoke. Very, very comfortable indeed. And that's it. That is the fixture. So we'll just have a quick look at what's going to happen in midweek. So these are the fixtures. Aston Villa versus Preston. Brentford versus Birmingham, that could be a very, very interesting one. Hull entertain Leeds. Ipswich will take on Middlesbrough. Wigan versus Swansea, that'll be a very, very interesting one. Reading and QPR, two of the strugglers, and Stoke versus Bolton. That will be very, very tough indeed for Bolton, going to Premier League, ex-Premier League team Stoke. And next on Wednesday we have Blackburn versus Sheffield United. That'll be a very interesting game. Derby versus Norwich, two sides in form. Nottingham Forest versus Millwall, Rotherham versus Bristol City, and Sheffield Wednesday versus West Brom. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you really, really enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment on your predictions, subscribe if you are new. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.